I thought it was honestly like as I'm watching it. First of all, I was embarrassed because Kelly had never seen it before,
Oh,
and I had sort of pitched it as
being
a
good?
humorous '80s, film. I'm like, oh, it'd be good. I love this movie when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Boy, it's not a good movie, but I did think it's fitting for us to talk about because it is so indicative of like a whole period in cinema,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like it fits so many tropes.
Yes, there's so many in there. It is such a movie of its time. It's such a movie of the 80s on so many fucking levels.
1985, ladies and gentlemen. We're going
Ooh.
back in time. Tonight, it's a movie night. We're going to be talking about Once Bitten with Lauren Hutton, Jim Carrey, and Karen Coppins. Let's start this thing.
Welcome to the Articulate Coven, the original, unofficial fan podcast and community for Anne Rice's Immortal universe, The Vampire Chronicles, Lives of the Mayfair Witches, and the Immortal Universe TV series from AMC and AMC+. The Articulate Coven is Ashley and Joel, but it's supported by listeners just like you. Find out more at articulatecoven.com/join.
Welcome to the Articulate Coven. We are your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven.
And we experienced some first and second-hand embarrassment while watching this film.
Did you and Brett watch it together?
No, well, okay, so here's what happened. I procrastinated, as I do. And I was having a very poor mental health night last night, and a friend of mine's going through some chemo, and they asked for some like lighthearted movie recommendations, and this is also a theater person, so I was like, oh well, shit. I started thinking about Scotland, PA, which I don't know if you've ever seen. It's fucking great.
So good.
It's so great. It's kind of like a modern Macbeth set in like a fast food restaurant. It's so fun.
With who's the female lead in that?
Maura Tierney.
Yes. Oh,
yeah, she's fantastic. She's a fantastic lady
thing
Macbeth.
for her.
Oh my god! So I started watching that, and when I should have been watching Once Bitten, I started watching that.
That's
and
a much better film. We should have talked about Scotland, PA.
Well, and then I was like, you know what else was really good and crazy was Drowning Mona. Drowning Mona is a really great flick if you haven't seen that. So I was like, I'm gonna fucking watch Drowning Mona. So Drowning Mona's got Bette Midler. She plays the lead, the title character, but she's in the movie for like 10 minutes. Well, a little bit longer than that because there's some flashbacks. But it's like a murder mystery. She fucking drives her Yugo. Everybody in the town drives Yugos because that's where like the first and only Yugo factory was, or that's where they launched the car. Anyway, we're gonna spend like 20 minutes talking about other movies if I don't stop.
Better
movies. These are things I was watching. Danny DeVito's in it. Jamie Lee Curtis. It's so funny. Nev Campbell is hilarious in it too. Anyway, so I was watching those things instead of watching Once Bitten. Then I was in a better headspace today, so I watched it while I was in the bathtub. So Brett was playing video games while I was watching this, and he was just laughing his ass off, just listening to it, because he watched it too, kind of same as we did, like probably way too many times.
Way too young.
Way too young. My God.
The things they get away with a PG-13 rating in 1985 are fairly shocking.
PG-13, I don't think even existed then. I think that's got to be an updated rating on that.
I think you're right. I think this is a retrospective PG-13, which means this came out as a PG movie, probably.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, if it had been an R-rated, like if this had been made in 95, which it could have been, honestly, like almost all of these jokes, I'm going to pause I think both of our uploads real quick. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
I've got a house full of people that are using the internet, as you might imagine, because
on
we have
Saturday,
wonderful toys.
In the summer.
Well, and we've all done outside things for a lot of the day too, so it's like time to sit back and use our gadgets now.
Yes, I love it.
I've got one who is streaming, I think it's the Money in the Bank.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're watching WWE right now. Remy is.
Excellent.
And here's the thing. Here's my little side rant before we talk about Jim Carrey's movie. By the way, talking about other better movies is a really good shot at a title. Already here out of the gate. But it still pisses me off and sort of has like rocked my world that you don't refer to them as pay-per-views anymore.
Yeah.
They're not PPVs. They're like, I think PLV, Premium Live Event is what they call them now, or PLE or something like that. Anyway, it's not as good as pay-per-view. I don't know what to tell you. I'm glad that we don't have to pay. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad my son does not ask for $50 every month to watch whatever
awesome event is streaming.
Yeah. God, the fact that I would have to at least justify it like a couple of times a year already would piss me off. So anyway, he can have all the Peacock he wants.
That's right.
He did ask me today if we could get a VPN so that he could watch all of the WWE events on Netflix instead of watching them on Peacock. And I was like, no. When does that contract expire here? So it's another 2 years, man. Anyway, all right. To this Jim Carrey movie quickly, because I want to start with this. My frame of reference for this movie, the reason why I hold this movie in any esteem at all, the reason why I suggested it originally on the list, it got like some vague voting the last round and then got pushed out. So it got mentioned in this round. And I think I mentioned last week on the show that it was like everybody's third choice, basically. Everybody wanted one light one, and a lot of them chose this one. I think many of us that did the Anne Rice thing at 11 or 12, one of the reasons we did is because we were exposed to movies like this and like Firestarter or Carrey. And
Weird Science.
Weird Science, too early. Like, God bless Kelly LeBrock. Oh my. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the point is we were affected early, ladies and gentlemen, because our parents and our guardians weren't paying enough attention to our media consumption.
No one had supervision in the summertime. We were latchkey kids. We were home. Whoever's the oldest is in charge. Like, that is not, that is the reason why we love this movie. This is the first thing I saw Jim Carrey in. 100% without 100%. A doubt. The very first thing I saw Jim Carrey in.
So I think I probably watched this in like 87. On video, and I know now, I talked about her last week in the first part of Blackwood Farm, which, by the way, if you don't listen to our book club episodes, or you're not currently listening to our book club episodes, go back and look at the show notes from the last one. There is a timestamp towards the end where we talk about the Talamasca news, and we talk about the some news for Interview with the Vampire as well.
We meant to do it at the beginning and we got distracted.
Yeah. So anyway, it's there if you don't listen to last week's episode. But one of the things that I mentioned in our discussion of Blackwood Farm is that I had this babysitter named Joe who introduced me to all sorts of movies that I probably shouldn't have been watching. Like, I watched Critters and Grease with her and several others. But RoboCop, she showed me RoboCop when I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 probably. Like, that man melts in acid. They're all drug users. Like, what a movie, man. That's a hard R movie. Anyway, this is not a hard R movie, but I watched this probably when I was like 6 or 7 years old. And Lauren Hutton, first of all, Ashley, so many of the videos that I might have watched in my alone time over the years came clear in a way that I had.
When you're praying, when you're praying, Joel, when you're alone and praying.
Oh, you fell in love with like a 48-year-old Lauren Hutton when you were 6.
Yeah, that's going to do weird things to your porn.
Y'all. Okay, I'm going to start with Lauren Hutton. Lauren Hutton, by the way, should just be praised to no end. First and foremost, this beautiful gap. She got so much shit in her early years for this, and it is a large gap in her teeth. I got one too. I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but like, so does David Letterman, and it's fine. All of my children have it, some worse than others.
She's gorgeous.
She's so beautiful, and she's got such poise and grace and like her presence. Yeah. You know, we've mentioned before the idea of like, and I don't know like what her family lineage is or whatever. I know she's from the South, but there is this feeling of like old Hollywood,
Yeah,
and many of like
glam, just
the nepo
like
babies still have that air too, where they're literally like, I don't know, they glow or something. Just like as they move through a room, you're like, oh, you're special in some way. They have it. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, they had it, you know? Yeah, that's it, man. Like Lauren Hutton has it.
well, and I
And
remember the first time I watched this had to be with my dad because
yeah.
he explained to me who Lauren Hutton was because I didn't know I'd never seen her before. And he was like, no, she's like a model. She did all these like fabulous campaigns and she's really famous for having this gap in her teeth, you know? So also, I think the first time I watched this movie was with adult supervision.
Yeah, 100% it was. So here's another thing that I had forgotten. She's in the first Gambler movie, The Gambler, with Kenny Rogers from
with Kenny
74.
Rogers?
Yeah. She's in the first one of those. She's also in American Gigolo. She was in Paper Lion in 68 with Alan Alda. She signed this big contract, though, with Revlon in 1973, which at the time was the biggest contract in the history of the modeling industry. So, like, the think about, though, like Cindy Crawford, everybody gave her shit for the mole and you want to have it removed. But like the reason why she stood apart was because of the mole.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Anyway, I have joked many times that one of the things I find particularly attractive about people is a tooth eccentricity. Like if you've got really long canine teeth, or if you've got like one tooth that's a little crooked, or if you like, I don't like yellow teeth. I don't like, like a nasty mouth. What I'm saying though is if you have a nice smile, but there's one imperfection in your smile in some way that is particularly attractive to me. Kelly gives me shit about it because she doesn't have a tooth eccentricity really. She's got a really nice smile.
I have a lot of teeth and eccentricities. Thank you.
I'm telling you though, it's a way to set off a face that I think is particularly nice. Anyway, she's got it, y'all. She's so great in this movie too. Like genuinely.
She's so okay. So like, yeah, she's pretty fabulous in this terrible, terrible film. Everyone's fun in this. It's just terrible. It's just, it's so funny. It's so funny. It's terrible.
So I've sort of like danced around it, but let's just talk about this period in Hollywood. And I think genuinely it probably lasted from like the 70s. I think about movies like Porky's where like the whole thing is about sex, but it started, I would say, there and went all the way to the early 2000s before it kind of fell out of favor.
Yeah, because you even had like American Pie, and they were kind of like that same sort of like kind of like like kind of naughty comedy comedy shit, you know.
But even more pointed than that, where a whole movie is about losing your virginity.
Yeah. That's why you fucked the pie.
What even is virginity? Like with this fucking construct. Like that's even the punchline of this movie. Like with the final moments of this film, I was thinking to myself, like, what was the magic line that got crossed? Actually, was it when he finished? Is that what it was?
Is that it? Is it
That's
upon
not
insertion?
Right. Because she's like, you didn't anyway. We'll get there eventually. But folks, if you're young, if you were born in the 2000s, maybe you weren't aware that this is like such a thing. But genuinely, we could do movie nights
It was the point
forever.
of every coming of age film was
every third movie.
Like,
yeah. And there's so many of the titles are like coming out, getting it on, getting it off, like whatever, like. Like taking a driver's test for manhood. That's a line early about this whole concept of we got to get over this sex thing, man.
It's him and his two doofy friends. And those uniforms that they wear in that movie, though, I think I could have drawn them from memory almost with perfection. Yes. Because those pop into my head sometimes, and I put those into other movies too. Like sometimes I make the guy, the hot dog boyfriend from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. I make his uniform even more ridiculous, and I put him in one of these uniforms sometimes in my mind. It's hilarious.
The giant pizza on the t-shirt gets me every time. Like it's so. And the other thing I didn't realize literally until this viewing, even like late in this viewing, once Jim Carrey's character is bitten the first time,
Uh-huh.
he starts wearing a tuxedo jacket.
Is that what his black jacket is? It's a
His
tuxedo
black jacket's a tuxedo jacket that he got from his dad.
Yeah, because he
He's
says,
like,
it's my dad.
He's like, don't bite these buttons off. Jim Carrey's got a line early in this thing. He says, "Right now, I'm as close to physical perfection as I'm going to
That's all I'll
get."
ever be.
And one of them says, "That's
funny.
depressing." But okay, I don't know about you, Ashley, but very much this movie did remind me that, like, when I was living it over and over again, I would hear from adults, "Oh, these are the best years of your life." And I was so depressed by that thought. And I am so glad in retrospect that they
were
weren't.
all wrong. Yeah, it's a fucking. I did not peak in high school. Let's be
Thank
very
God.
real.
Now, if you want to argue with me that I peaked in like 2003, 2004, I won't fight you hard.
I won't argue. We were not going to fight about that, but it definitely was
didn't
not
peak
in 95.
96. Yeah, not 95, 96. No, man. And genuinely, I do think that's part of the problem of high school, is that you do have adults saying that sort of thing to you, and like the angst that you feel, and your body doesn't fit right, and there's acne everywhere, and there's hair in weird places, and this thing and that, and there's all this pressure to screw, but also all this pressure not to screw, and all of the things, and you're like, this is the best that I'm ever I mean, genuinely, like, we wonder why there are high teen suicide rates and things like that. Ooh. It's like, you got to stop saying that shit to kids. I have literally never said that to my children. I've been like, listen, high school is a thing you get through. There are good times there. Like, there's fun to be had.
If you have a good time, then great. More power to you. You came through that like a boss, and I congratulate you. I thought it was an actual hellscape.
Well, but my thing is, like, even if you're the star quarterback, right, or the head cheerleader, even then, that shouldn't be the peak of your life.
No,
surely,
my God,
right?
No. and you know, you're not in charge of anything yet. And then all of a sudden you have to be in charge of fucking everything. It's like, you're not in charge, but then go ahead and pick a college. And then, you know, and now, okay, go ahead and take care of yourself. Have fun with that. You know, it's like, what the fuck just happened? How did that much change in just like a month and a half?
This is a stupid movie, but
it's so stupid.
It does capture some of that angst and dysfunction and whatever.
Oh, and definitely.
That part is real. That part is like, still the truth.
He has a couple funny scenes with his parents. Like, his parents are trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with him. He like gets out of a trunk he's taking a nap in. His dad's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, I think that captures like parents trying to deal with fucking weird teenagers really well too, you know?
Oh, we're doing masks now. Is that what we're okay? All right.
Cool.
All right. Okay.
Great,
all right.
Great. Awesome.
Duster.
Awesome.
You're gonna wear a duster every day. Floor length duster. Okay. Cool. Denim.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
In
cool.
the summertime,
cool.
You want to do that? You feel good?
I remember I was talking to my sons earlier today about this, but like, I went through at least 2 periods of time in my life that lasted longer than 18 months where I never wore shorts.
Oh.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
The one when I was a little kid, I don't even remember why. There was a period when I was a teenager that I specifically do remember, and it was like my legs looked funny to me.
Right.
And
right.
I was like, I can't put shorts on.
No one should see these.
But I mean, I think
hideous. What a teenager thing to think. I am hideous.
I don't know if you remember it, Ashley, but like I think it was in 99. I think it came out the year that I graduated. There was the Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen song, like the talkie song where they give all the advice. But one of the lines is, "You are not as fat as you imagine." And I'm like, no, none of us were at 17, right? Like, no.
No, I was looking at some pictures of me when I was in college, and I was like, who let me think I was fat?
Right?
Who let me think that? My God, I was working out every fucking day. I was dancing.
You'd be like,
4 days a week. I was fighting potion. 3 days a week. Fuck you.
Dude, yeah. I very specifically remember coming home from Ohio, doing my first year at Blue Jacket, and like my hair had grown down to my shoulders, and I had like a decent goatee going by the time I came home, and I was wearing moccasins
Yeah, yeah.
and like bell bottom
'Cause
jeans
that place
with holes all in
changes
them,
you.
and like a sleeveless shirt, and I was very tan, and I was as trim as I've probably ever been, like
well,
pretty
that
taut.
set was 3 acres of fucking sand, and we ran all over it.
I walked into to our professor Mark Gwynn's office, and he goes, "Hey, you got that blue jacket sheen on you, don't
Yeah.
you?" He's like, "Cash it in, brother."
You look like you spent the summer cheating on your girlfriend back home.
Oh man, that's anyway. Okay, it is so crazy to me though. The like again that they hung this whole movie on the virginity
The whole
thing.
point of this is she has to drink from his crotch 3 times.
And I don't remember. Are there other vampire movies? Well, I guess the original Nosferatu it had to be a virgin, right? Like that was his deal. Is the woman was a virgin that had to sacrifice herself? I think maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know if there's I don't remember other movies being that it has to be the blood of a virgin.
I mean, what that's a thing in what the movie with the funny witches that everybody likes so much. The with Bette Midler.
Yes,
and,
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus. That's a virgin thing too in that.
I so fucking forgot that, Ashley.
that's
But
a
you're
virgin
right.
thing,
That
too. Yeah.
Disney movie is about the witches need to drain a virgin. That is so crazy.
They need a virgin to light the candle or some shit. I don't know. I can't remember.
God,
but it's something like that.
Bless. Wow, that's weird. All right. Let's talk about Jim Carrey for a minute before we get further into the storyline here. So this was definitely the first thing you saw him in, huh?
Oh, 100%.
So he's in something before this, I think, isn't he?
He's like
he did one other thing.
This.
Oh, so okay, he did a few things before this. He did Earth Girls Are Easy is later. That's 88. He's in the Deadpool in 88, the Dirty Harry movie? No fucking way. Okay, so he did a thing in 81 that's 55 minutes called Rubber Face. I'm guessing that's like a stand-up special. Yeah. He did this Sex and Violence Family Hour, which is it's like a TV special. All in Good Taste, which seems like a feature-length movie. That's from 83. Copper Mountain in 83. Finders Keepers in 84. And then Once Bitten in 85. He was in Peggy Sue Got Married in 86, which I saw that movie in the movie theater. I don't really remember it.
I love Peggy Sue Got Married. That's
Jim Carrey's in that one too. It's weird to think about. He's in Pink Cadillac with Eastwood and Bernadette Peters.
Yep, I knew he was in that.
God, I got to see that movie again. I don't remember him from that either. So I did not tie him in this to like the guy that I started watching on In Living Color. Right. I started watching him on In Living Color, and then his movie career blew up. I didn't tie him back to Once Bitten until I saw it sometime in the 90s, I guess. Like, I watched it late in the 90s in high school.
Holy shit, Jim Carrey's in this.
I'm like, this is a Jim Carrey movie. And everybody's like, yeah, idiot. Of course, that's the reason.
And there's just a couple of parts in it where you see him, like, you see some very early, like, Jim Carrey shtick. And I was like, oh, like, when he goes to the shop to visit his girlfriend, I was like, oh, this is some, like, fucking baby Jim Carrey shtick.
He does a thing at one point where he like goes back and forth with like a pole or a mannequin or something. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. Oh, and there's one of the dance moves too, where he's doing his arms in a certain way. And I'm like, okay, I saw him do this he does it in Liar Liar, and he does it in Ace Ventura, and whatever.
Yes, yes. You do get like an early little like peek preview of like what Jim Carrey will become.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about his co-star and paramour, Karen Coppins. All right. So what else do we know her from?
She was in, I feel like she was just in a lot of like 80s movies, like plays a lot of girlfriends in 80s movies.
Okay. She's in Troop Beverly Hills. I think that's probably what I remember her from.
I just watched that recently too. Yeah. I remember her being in that. She did a lot. She was a pretty active child actor too, I think. Like, not like crazy young, but filmography.
She totally fits this. Like she is the sort of unassuming girl next door.
Yeah, very girl next door, like a definite like opposite of Lauren Hutton's character in this.
Okay.
You know?
I mean, it's like when they went to cast Saved by the Bell, they were like, give me a Karen Coppins from Once
Yes,
Bitten.
and that is
And they got Kelly
Tiffany
Kapowski.
Amberson
Yes.
season. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
She's got those
she's the
vibes for sure.
prototypical. Yeah.
Like, and has that really pretty like dark hair, light eye combo that I think is so gorgeous. You know, that
Yeah.
Brittany Cox has that. I think it's so fabulously pretty.
And I'll say, like, I do like what they do with her character, and in most of these movies that were about somebody chasing their virginity, the one who is a little bit in denial of it happening is always shown to be the wiser one, and also generally shown not to be a prude, but it's just like, hey, doofus, we're children.
Yeah.
And in
Maybe
the
I'm
back
not-
seat of this Volkswagen is not the place or whatever,
yeah,
right?
Well, and I'm not gonna fuck you in your fucking ice cream truck.
But actually, when he gets out of that truck,
And everyone in the world is fucking.
it's just bouncing cars as far as the eye can
It's
see.
so funny. And there's even like things pumping in the background.
Yes.
Like there's like a fucking
There's like one dude
oil
whose ass
drill
is
or
just
some
going up.
shit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you see the dude's ass bumping in the fucking convertible. Like this movie's
see-
about fucking.
Okay, but those are examples, though, to me. This is a stupid movie, but it is very competently made, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is made from top to bottom. The people who did this knew exactly what they were doing, and they just gave it their best.
It's terrible, but it's of its time. You know, like there's a reason why we watched it numerous times, Joel. It wasn't because we didn't think it was funny.
Man, it is hard for me to believe. I'm sitting here looking at Jim Carrey's, like, Google thing. He's 63 years old, Ashley.
It's crazy.
Okay, there's this early moment. He gets rejected. He goes and complains to his two buddies that work the burger joint, which we're
Right.
going to get into.
Who are also
and
clearly virgins.
further-
Like Lauren Hutton's bitching about not being able to find a virgin. I'm like, this fucking high school's lousy with them.
Okay, I kept thinking, why not take his girlfriend at any point? Like, she kidnaps his girlfriend
also
late in
a
the
virgin.
movie. She is also a virgin. Yes, like I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know.
There are 4
Maybe
virgins right there for you to choose from.
maybe Lauren can be a vampire and a murderer, but she can't be a lesbian. I guess. I don't know.
There's clearly she has been because there's girls in her
That's
coven.
right. Good call. There are girls in her coven. Exactly.
Yeah,
You're
she's
right.
clearly like goes for either virgin.
Okay, there's a moment though when they all head into they're going to go to Hollywood to find
a
some
bar.
chicks.
The lady walking a lion on a chain is the best part.
My note is, how weird is LA? Question mark. Woman walking a lion down the street on a chain.
Yeah. Yeah. Hollywood's crazy, you guys. Oh my God. Crazy shit happens there.
I thought that was reality. I really thought every corner in Hollywood had a gay bar.
And there's blow everywhere. Everyone's
Cocaine
doing blow.
everywhere. You could call up cocaine at the bar, probably. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, in '85, that might have been true in a lot of places.
Okay, but real talk, this bar that they go to is a brilliant concept.
It is a pretty cool concept.
It's a brilliant concept. So every table has a telephone, and you can dial
number and a big
number, and you can pick up the phone, which are all shaped like lips, which were the phone that every girl wanted to have at some point in her life. You pick up your phone, you put in the number of the table, and then you flirt. That is fun as hell. I
anonymously.
love this shit could be open right now. This could be a way for people. People are tired of the apps. They're tired of not knowing where to meet people.
You don't need apps. You need appetizers.
You need appetizers.
Together.
Apple,
please. Okay. I'd forgotten about all of the Countess's henchmen. In my memories of this movie, I did not remember that she had like a whole. Basically, she's collected all of her virgins over time.
I forgot until we started seeing them. We start seeing them, and you're like, oh shit! Now I remember she had a whole like crew. But then I forgot how like weird, like how weird they all are, like how weirdly specific characters they all are. There's a Confederate
Yes.
soldier and like a French sailor and like some weird
One
shit.
of them is played by Stuart Charno, and his character is Cabin Boy Vampire.
Yes.
One of them is called Flower Child Vampire. One of them
Yes.
is World War Ace Vampire. So yeah, like they were like, what costumes do you have?
Oh,
That's one of them. There you go.
I got
That's one of
this.
them.
oh my god.
Okay, let's talk about the bigger problem to me than the virginity question, because like I think that's silly, but that's sort of like easy to dismiss. Here's the thing that is hurtful about a lot of these films looking back. What's funnier, Ashley, than a bunch of dudes desperately trying to talk their girlfriends into having sex with them? Trans people. Trans people is funnier than that. We ought to make fun of trans people for a while in this movie. They're at this bar, and one of the dudes gets a phone call or calls somebody and goes over to the table, whatever.
Yeah, he's the one
and
that makes the call, which is the best part to me.
Yeah, clearly a trans man at the table, and he says, "What's the line?" He says something like, "Are you a man?" And the person says, "Does it matter?"
Does it matter?
But like, and then there's the whole scene later in the shower where
they're like
they just say faggot over and over,
Yeah.
or fag
Oh,
over and over
yeah.
and over and
Yeah.
over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, we're gay in the shower, guys. It's prison in here.
Yeah, the only thing worse than being a vampire is being a trans person or a gay person, or even being thought to be gay. Like the
Yeah.
line later, I'm just going to jump to that. This is the suckiest thing that could ever happen. The whole school thinks we're gay.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God.
But also in the same film, you have like openly gay representation, and it's completely fine and acceptable. No one blinks an eye at the gay butler vampire who is.
So let's talk about
Hilarious.
him for a second. So Cleavon Little plays
y'all.
Sebastian.
He's
in this
hilarious
movie.
in this.
He is really, really good. He's good in
Lots of
everything.
closet jokes with him. Why is he always in her closet? He's getting her shit. He's stealing her shit out of her closet. But they never fail to make an in the closet, out of the closet joke when he's in there.
Okay. Cleavon Little is the brother of singer Deetta Little West, best known for her performance of the vocals on the chart-topping Bill Conti song Gonna Fly Now, the main theme to Rocky.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So Cleavon Little was a stage actor and film, of course, eventually, but he was known for stage acting for a long time. He had a big starring production in Pearly. He won a Tony Award for that one and a Drama Desk Award. He was on the ABC sitcom Temperatures Rising. And then during his run on that sitcom, he got the role in Blazing Saddles.
Yes, which is where I know
Sheriff
him from.
Bart. Yeah, that's
where I knew it from, and I was like, "What?"
When I watched this as a child, I had not seen Blazing Saddles. When I saw Blazing Saddles, I did not connect Sebastian to Sheriff Bart. But years later, I did. I had forgotten this, Ashley, but he's also got a run on, and here's a great example. I've complained about this on our Facebook group because somebody was talking about Shadow of the Vampire, and I'm like, Shadow of the Vampire is, I think, maybe out of print.
Find. Yeah,
it's not anywhere on streaming. You can't buy it or rent it in any other digital storefronts, and I don't think you can even order the DVD except like if you're buying it like used from somebody or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But so many things fall through the crack like that. Here's one that is not anywhere available currently. Dear John, the NBC sitcom.
Oh, that series.
I loved it. It was like a AA thing or whatever. Anyway, Cleavon Little had a run on Dear John that won him a Emmy Award, a Primetime Emmy Award. Really cool guy, really funny guy. He's good as Sebastian. But it is interesting to think, okay, we can have this honestly positive, like Sebastian is shown again and again to be the wiser one of him and the Countess, for instance.
Yeah.
He's more clever, et cetera, et
charge
cetera.
of the household.
Also,
He's
when
taking
she
care
gets
of all
old,
the dumb vampires downstairs.
when she gets old, he doesn't. So like,
yeah,
maybe it's just like fuck off, Countess. Actually, and Sebastian's gonna have his day.
I'm gonna take care of her.
Yeah. Anyway, I loved his inclusion in this, and if you haven't seen, definitely if you haven't seen Blazing Saddles, like get the hints and see another movie, which is definitely dated for sure, but also a much better film than this one. Speaking of
Yes.
talking about watching better movies.
Yeah. Speaking of talking about watching better movies than Once Bitten,
All
Megan
right, let me go back
Mullally's
to my
in
notes.
this, and I did not realize that until I
What?
saw. Yeah, well, I saw it in the credits, and then I didn't have time to go back and find her. She plays Suzette, and I don't remember who the fuck Suzette is, but it's
Is she
Megan
one of-
Mullally.
Is she one of the other vampires, maybe?
It's gotta be, because we don't see any of. It doesn't seem like poor fucking Robin has any friends.
No, she basically doesn't in the film anyway. She doesn't at all. Yeah, Suzette's got to be one of the... I wonder, is she one of the ones that has the boys at the end?
At
You know,
the
there's
end.
the two.
Yeah.
I need to go back and see that scene.
I couldn't recognize her from, just her naked back, so I wasn't sure.
Boy, those are two nice naked backs. I'll give it to him. His two buddies get the best end of this deal, I think.
Yeah.
Because they don't get bitten, one imagines, either.
Well, they might, and who cares? They might enjoy it.
Okay. Ashley, I do want to say this. So he's at this bar. He gets picked up by the Countess, and she's like, "Oh, just ride with me, and my butler will drive your ice cream truck to the house." Ashley, what's our rule? Never go to a second location.
Never go to a second. I was like, there's so many that are coming to mind right now. But yeah, you don't go into a second location. You're going to get murdered there.
All right. The one time that I rode to a second location in the accompaniment of an older lady, I was at a college party. This was probably my second year at Louisiana Tech. And I was at a graduation party with a bunch of people who had just graduated and were celebrating. And someone who I did not know, I believe her name was Grace, although I wouldn't swear to that. She was significantly older than I, probably 40, 42, if I was guessing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, she got soused. I did not realize how soused. She decided it was time to leave and suggested that I accompany her. She has a house just around the corner. I thought
she's an actual grown-up woman.
You're right. I thought that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I do think she rented, actually, in retrospect. But
I do think she rented. It is a college town, after all.
But she was an artist. Ashley, it turns out her house was directly opposite and facing the Louisiana Tech Police Department and building.
Okay.
And she came around the corner of that building towards her home on two wheels in her Jeep Wrangler as I clung to the dashboard.
Why?
And looked at two police officers standing in front of the building, watching us as we drifted Tokyo style around the police station. And she slid to a stop finally in front of her home.
Oh my God.
Thank God one of the two cops standing out there was actually a buddy of mine. And he was the one that drove across the street to see what the hell that was. Yeah. He was like, "Is that Joel?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Who the hell was that?" I was like, "I think her name's Grace, man."
I think her name's Grace.
He goes, "What was going on?" I was like, "I didn't know she was that drunk, man. She said she was going home. She refused to let me drive. I thought it'd be better if I was at least with her in case something happened anyway. And also, man, like, let's be honest, I thought I was going to get some."
Let's be real. That's why you go to the second location. Duh.
Anyway, that's a mess. Folks, don't ride to the second location. Don't ride to the second location.
No, not even if it's Lauren Hutton.
This woman was not Lauren Hutton, by the way.
No, it's Grace. Jesus, Joel.
Okay, Sebastian, out of the closet. You've already said it, but I like the line. "I came out of the closet centuries ago." Kelly was very disappointed with Sebastian's makeup job here, by the way. She's like, he's ruining Lauren Hutton's face. What is he doing here? I will say I liked that they were sitting in what seemed to be like a vanity mirror, but it wasn't a mirror. He could just reach
Reaching
through it with the lights.
That was so weird.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. Okay, Jim Carrey's making small talk with her, and he says, well, I'm studying to be an electrical engineer. My field is nuclear physics. I'm working on the acid rain problem. And I'm like,
Stupid.
this is every time some idiot has tried to pick up a woman
Yeah.
with a line. Like, he's throwing them all and literally doesn't know any of what he's talking about. Like,
they
those
don't even
three
go
things are
together.
not. That's what I'm saying. They don't even go together. It's not even one consistent story. Oh, he says, most people don't do things, and you do. You're a doer.
Oh.
She says, after she bites him, Cleavon Little, Sebastian's asking, was he really a virgin? And she says, I haven't had anything this pure since the Vienna Boys Choir hit town.
Yes.
All right, we give Anne shit all the time. You can't get by it without making a kid fiddler. Like, come on, man.
Whole choir? Bless. Unnecessary.
Okay. He gets back to Robin, his girlfriend, the next day, and obviously it was going to come out what had happened. My man, you're talking about it at lunch, and she's at the next table. Like,
so loud.
What are you doing?
Like, oh my God. Volume control. And look around before you talk about cheating on your girlfriend for your girlfriend.
She says, I can't believe you'd throw away our relationship with a butler and a chauffeur and a slut who eats buttons.
Funny. Stupid funny line.
I do love the running button eating joke, by the way.
Yeah.
I can't tell you it. And again, obvious in retrospect. But the idea of tearing off clothing has always been like, that's the height of sexy, right? Rip my pants off.
I distinctly remember the button biting. Like, I remember that distinctly from this movie.
Okay. There's the music in the dream sequence. Sebastian has a dream sequence. No. Sebastian's playing
the music in this is just
most of the music's terrible. But Ashley, he starts having this dream sequence where he's like at this, I don't know, like a cafe or something, having drinks with the Countess, and Sebastian is on roller skates playing an accordion.
So insane.
But the music is, go back and watch this scene again, folks. It's a little too close to our last theme song music that we had for this show. The one where I was like Parisian influenced. Again, I'm like, I think somebody other than me had a thing maybe for Once Bitten.
That is hilarious.
Okay. He goes to the cafeteria. Or no, this is even before the cafeteria. He gets up in the morning and he's like coming down for breakfast. He's talking to his parents and he's like rushing out the door, and he drinks a glass full of drained blood from the hamburgers. Like,
also,
she's poured off all the
hamburgers. Why is your hamburger meat that soupy?
I wondered about that too. I was like,
Christ.
you added, the prop department went a little overboard on that one, I think.
In my life, I've never drained off a cup of blood from meat.
So one of the podcasts I listen to, one of the co-hosts is always picking on the other co-host because he has a lot of glass beakers that he uses as drinking glasses sometimes. And he's like, they have a little spout on them to drink. Like, why would I not use them as drinking glasses? Anyway, there was a photo the other day where he took there was a glass of orange juice and then there's a glass of varnish, and they're near each other and both of them are glass beakers. And he was like, this is why you don't drink out of glass beakers, because you're going to put them together and then suddenly you're drinking paint thinner and now you're dead.
And now you're
this
dead.
This is why you don't put the hamburger juice on the kitchen counter next to the orange juice, because your vampire son's going to drink it.
Yeah. Well, and they make such a big deal. Like, it's so they make a big deal in the very, very beginning of him ordering a burger from his buddies, and he wants it so well done that it's like burned to a charred
yeah,
crisp.
Right.
So that's how we know something's changing with him, Joel, because now he's interested in raw meat and blood from it.
I love First of all, it's the one tie I think probably at all in this film with our beloved Interview with the Vampire series. There's a confessional scene in this movie.
Oh, yes, there is. Yes, there is.
So he goes into the confessional booth and there's no priest around and nobody's watching. So this random drunk hobo that's been sitting in the pews gets
Like,
up and follows him into the other side.
Might as well.
So Jim Carrey starts unloading his deepest, darkest fears here about what's happening to him and everything that's going on. And I love the drunk's answer when he finishes. He goes, "Get yourself a shovel. You're in deep shit."
Yep. It's good fatherly advice there.
Ashley, we said earlier that this movie hits all of the tropes. Here's one. There is a dance off.
There's a fucking dance off. There's a dance off with an in-performance costume change.
So can we first of all talk about, and there are two songs in this movie that I remembered very, very much. First of all, there's the title song, Once Bitten, which is pretty good.
Yeah, and they do play it twice. You get a reprieve.
Yes.
So.
But it's very much one of those 80 where they like gave the guy the script and was like, write a song about that. And he did. But
he
also Hands Off is the song.
He belongs to me. Hands off. He's my private property. Hands off. Paula Abdul passed on that song. And
no way.
No, I'm joking. I'm totally
okay,
joking.
I was going to say it really sounds
it does.
It really
have a
sounds
real
like Paula
Abdul.
Yeah, again, stupid 80s song, but like
a fucking dance off.
So on the nose.
This is where I felt so embarrassed for everyone involved. I was like, "Oh, we're doing this." I forgot. I didn't forget that this was in there. I forgot how long it was, though. It's like interminable.
It's the full song.
Look,
listen, 3 verses.
I hate a musical performance within a non-musical movie. Makes me really uncomfortable usually. Like there's in Scream 2, I have to fast forward through the part where he sings to her in the cafeteria because it embarrasses me so badly. I'm just cringing the whole fucking time. And that's how I feel about this. Though she does end up with a really haughty little outfit on it. It's all white and lacy because she's a virgin.
First of all, they could not make that more obvious because Lauren Hutton's in black too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is literally like the temptress and the virgin here before you on the dance floor. But God, I lost track of we were just talking about the other, God bless it. I'm gonna have to cut all of this now because I don't know where I was gonna say. God, it was really good too, I think. And it doesn't matter. Anyway. Man, fucking dance-offs though, dude. Like, this is so on the nose and over the top. Here's my thing is I don't mind I know the question I was going to ask. How do you feel about the song in 10 Things I Hate About You?
Would you like to know a secret? I've never seen 10 Things I Hate About You.
Okay, Ashley. You're a theater kid.
I know.
We've lost one of those beloved people.
I know.
It's so like everybody in that movie is fucking famous now, man.
You know what? Let's look. When did that movie come out?
It's real good. It was like 97, 98 maybe.
Yeah,
I think.
I was busy. 99. It came out 99, Joel. I was 2 years in at Louisiana Tech. What do you think?
Yeah, very fair. Very fair. Very fair. Not going to the movie theater for
I was. No, you had to go to fucking Monroe. There wasn't even one in Ruston anymore.
If there was a movie theater still, we might have gone more often. You're right. That's a very good point. It is
a special occasion.
I do think it genuinely holds up. And that, first of all, it's a pretty good performance of the song too that he does, but it fits the film. I almost never mind when characters sing in a movie that is not a musical. Like Sinners, for instance.
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't like a dance number in a movie that's not a musical. This does not. None of these people should be able. Why does the crowd make a circle for them?
Why do they know each other's dance moves?
Yes, none of this works like that. Anyway,
I don't
unless
care
we're
for
gonna
it.
seven brides for seven brothers it, and the whole town's gonna dance and do a barn raising, like I don't care for this. And it doesn't. I don't even think it adds anything because it just like nothing's settled by it. Like they walk off together, but Jim Carrey is not like, well, I'll never go back to the Countess. Although I guess it does set the Countess that like she's got to kidnap the girlfriend at that point. I don't know. Anyway, I don't care.
She's too interfering. She's too interfering.
All right, but before we get to the conclusion of this film, I want to take this detour. Robin goes to a bookstore to try to figure out what this vampire thing probably is, because she's decided now it's true.
Well, oh wait, we skipped, but there's a really great scene. So when she bites him at the store.
Oh,
at
yes.
That is so because she's standing behind him and he's just like looking at the mirror, like putting on these pants, and she's in there and you can't see her reflection in the mirror. I actually really do love
I like that a
trick.
lot too.
I thought that was super fun.
I also like that, like, she so quickly gets to the bite and then he's laid out and then she skips out of the room, like right behind Robin. And like, you're right. Good call. I didn't make a note about that because I was enjoying myself, honestly. It's one of the better scenes in the film.
It is.
But so Robin decides, yes, this is a vampire thing. She's going to have to do something about it. So she goes to learn something about vampires.
Got to do some research.
Why does this white man have a terrible and unnecessary Indian accent as the bookstore owner? Why Indian? In particular, like, are there famous Indian vampires? Is that a big part of their mythological history?
I don't know.
Like, at least make him Romanian or something, right? Like, make him Transylvanian.
Yeah. Why?
If you're gonna do a silly accent,
or was it bad? Was he just doing a bad? Was he doing it bad?
I mean, he does the apu. Like, he's really like over the top and silly with it. It's terrible. But again, they hit all the tropes. They're like, oh ho, you thought we hadn't done a silly accent yet? Just wait.
Here's one coming right at you.
Also, that Indian bookstore owner has another terrible line to remind you that this movie has all the wrong sexual politics. He goes, well, an 18-year-old boy would hardly be a virgin now, would he? And then she's like, well, what if he was hypothetically a virgin? He goes, oh, I think he's got a lot bigger problems than a female vampire. Ho, ho, ho. Like, 18? 18's the cutoff?
Fine.
You're a loser?
Fine.
Goodness gracious. For the record, I'm trying to make sure that this is true. Did I make it past my 18th birthday? I definitely made it to college. I'm trying to think. I think I did make it past my 18th birthday.
I did.
It was my first serious girlfriend in college.
Girl.
Well, And
I'm pretty sure everybody in high school thought I was a lesbian with my best friend Susan.
It's indicative of how rural where I grew up was and how long ago it was that I don't think anybody did think me and my best friend were gay, which in retrospect, I'm fairly certain I was in love with him. But like, genuinely,
I'm not.
No,
do not mean to laugh,
but it's like
in retrospect,
I think if he had ever offered it, I think I probably would have jumped at it. Actually, I didn't have the language to discuss it, and I didn't know at the time that there was any middle ground. Right? I genuinely didn't know that bisexuality was an option until I was in college.
Absolutely, yeah, it wasn't.
I thought it was discussed. Like one team or the other.
Right, you better pick. Goodness. Pick which one.
Okay. Okay, there's the scene where they are. So first of all, they accost him in the shower because Robin says, "You got to see if he's got these sores on his thigh." Right.
She makes it sound like he's got an STD, like he's got.
Is there like
warts.
A venereal disease? She's like, sort of.
Sort of.
Which, I mean, it is literally what is an STD? It is a sexually transmitted disease. That doesn't mean it's transmitted by sex. That means it's transmitted by bodily fluids. One of the major ways that you can transmit those is through sexual contact. But
or biting crotches.
Yeah, vampirism is a venereal disease, actually. That's exactly what it is, in fact. Anyway, there's the ridiculous, terrible scene in the shower where they finally just like grab him by the shoulders and grab him by the
Lift his legs
ankles.
up.
But the one guy trying to look at his crotch, his face is covered in soap. And so then they do the red alarm fire because there might be homosexuals in the building. So we have to run out of the thing. But they're talking about it afterwards in the burger stand. They're like, this is the suckiest thing that could ever happen. The whole school thinks we're gay. And the one guy's like, no, they know our reputation. They would never think we're gay. And he's like, you don't have a reputation. Anyway, it's a pretty funny scene if you don't realize that the whole butt of the joke is that they might possibly be thought by somebody to be gay.
Thought of as being gay.
Right. But here's something that I noticed this time. And Ashley, I'm wondering if I can say it even without getting a little queasy. I wrote it earlier as I was writing the note. I gagged twice. The one guy behind him, the blonde guy, is scraping plates and trays off into a bucket that he then turns around, and the bucket is labeled secret sauce, and he puts it in the fridge.
Oh no.
It is, again, we talked earlier about how like this is a competently made terrible movie. That's an example. Like there's no reason for that joke to be happening, that bit of business,
gross.
Right? It's so disgusting. But that is like, it's layers on layers. You've got to be taking notes for this thing to talk about on a fucking vampire podcast to give a shit to notice that, right? I'm sure somewhere, some prop designer or that actor that came up with that idea is like, oh, thank God.
Hell yeah.
Somebody finally saw it. Okay, I did make it through it without getting queasy. I feel very good about that.
I missed that every time I watched it.
Okay, there's this giant chase scene at the end, which, again, like the dance scene, goes on too long.
Okay, but what in the fuck? Where in the fuck are they in this house at some points? I'm like, they look like they're in a water treatment facility or some shit. I'm like, where are we?
The third level basement is apparently really sparsely decorated.
Oh.
I will say, when they're driving up to it at the end, towards the end of the movie, when the boys go to save Robin, it did occur to me, this is a big ass house. It's actually
it's
like
huge.
Two separate full mansions that are like connected via pathways.
It's a huge place. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of room for them to run, but like none of that is necessary. Like if you've got the 17 vampires in your coven or whatever it is, like you'd catch this little shit. Also, I will say it is interesting to me that these vampires aren't supernatural really in any way. None of them are strong or fast.
Any sort of magic powers at all.
Yeah. No. They just all stay young.
Yeah.
During the chase scene though, I do love the idea that the two female vampires in her coven just completely forget about the chase altogether.
Yeah, they fuck right out of
that.
Fuck
those two boys. Mm-hmm. They're like, hey.
Like, oh, look who got left behind.
I'm a mature person and you're a mature person. So let's drop the BS and do what we want to do.
That is such a ridiculous fucking line.
Okay. Meanwhile, this is my note. Meanwhile, this chase scene is one of the dumbest things in the whole movie.
Oh God,
it goes on too long and it's stupid. Although it does lead up to one good line. One of the henchmen bashes in a door and she goes, "I have to replace every door you people smash. Could you at least try the doorknob?"
The doorknob.
And Cleavon Little goes, "Jocks."
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And the door opens, which is hilarious.
So they're finally, they get down, they've got to be here. We've cornered them. They must be here, but where are they? And it's quiet for just a second and you hear squeaky, 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 squeak. There is a coffin jumping up and down like the cars earlier. You're like, what could that be?
Hydraulics.
They open the lid, and I do love the looks on both of their faces. Robin sits up first, and she is so satisfied with herself. You're too late. And Lauren Hutton's line is, "You couldn't have. You've been in there less than a minute." And Jim Carrey sits up, and he has this fucking self-satisfied look, smoking two cigarettes, which he peels off one and hands to Robin. And she goes, "You could have, but you didn't have time to enjoy it."
look, sometimes you just got to get the deed done, which I think is also a good idea with the concept of virginity. Just get it done and get it out of there so you don't have to think about that as a concept anymore. It's not a real thing.
You remember how earlier we talked about how those people that told you high school was the best time of your life and they all lied? Yeah. Anybody that tells you their first time was magical, it better not be. It better get better from there. Okay, so the Countess is foiled. The clock strikes midnight and she withers away into old age. Which again, I'll just point out, the two friends are still up. They may not be virgins at this point anymore, but she could have just eaten the two friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, at any point where they realized that she needed him to be a virgin, they could have fucked anytime. You could have just fucked and got that over with before the chase scene, before the school dance. My God.
I do like, and I'd never noticed it before, but there's one moment like right before that where they disappear, there's a look on Robin's face and she like grabs Jim Carrey and I was like, oh, she finally figured it out. She's like, there is a way out of this, and it's not a window or a door.
The slot into the pocket and realized what could happen next.
You just follow the IKEA diagram.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so our punchline to the movie, though, and I mentioned this earlier, the Countess goes away. Sebastian's like, oh, we'll find you a virgin. Don't ever worry. Which, of course, she's decided now she'll never find a virgin again.
Never
because
again.
In the middle of the 80s,
everyone's
no
slutty.
one was afraid of having sex, Ashley, in 1985.
Why would we be concerned?
Anyway, Jim Carrey says, I think the Countess might have been right. It would be better slower. And Robin says, let's find out. And as they close the coffin back, he says, I believe I've created a monster. First of all, I do love the idea that like all she needed was a good deep dickin', and then Robin's going to be the best girlfriend ever, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But second of all, like, I mean, first of all, it is true. It is better slower. Like, hey, you should take your time and enjoy that shit.
Sometimes a quicky's a quickie and just get it done. However,
that's true. That's also fitting.
Listen, sometimes you just want to get it done.
We've only got so many dopamine levers in here, folks.
And I need something now.
Man,
Kiss me, just do it.
It's a stupid movie. What a stupid movie, Ashley.
Such a stupid movie. It's such a stupid movie. It's like, this kind of reminded me of when we watched what was the one with
Love at First Bite.
Yes, where the people that love it fell in love with it when they were too young to be watching it. This is our Love at First Bite, Joel.
Yes, you had to watch this movie before, I would say probably before 11. Even by 11, you realize the sexual politics in this movie are stupid. Like, even by 11, you're like, oh, this isn't the way this works.
Should it be anyway? Fuck.
This is a movie made for like precocious 9-year-olds and their fathers that didn't know better.
Yes, 100%. That's it. Well,
Or
let me tell you about Lauren Hutton, Ashley.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I genuinely, I was, I don't know, 20 minutes into this thing, and she's in the restaurant, and then she goes and changes into the outfit, and she keeps like pulling the decolletage a little bit further open, and I was like,
a whole painting of her fucking titties on her wall.
Oh, that's why
this has informed a lot of my choices in life.
So much of my Google results over the years. Anyway, folks, I am glad that y'all also, some of you anyway, had nostalgia for this film. I'm glad we went through this one.
So bad. Thank you. So bad.
It's a weird one, y'all. Goodness gracious. All right. I will say, if you're listening to this or watching it, I do have new episodes of Dark Shadows up for you on our Patreon. And if you are not a patron, they'll be posting in a couple of weeks over on our YouTube. And I've got a backlog built now. So like those will keep coming. Thank you for being patient with me to get those back up and running. What else? In the show notes, you'll find links and info for our hotel room block. For the Anne Rice Celebration of Life on November 1st in New Orleans. We're going to be down there live. We still don't know ticket info for the actual event itself, but it'll be broadcast on the internet after the event is over. We're going to be doing some like live streaming and stuff while we're down there. We're going to try to do a live recording. We're going to enjoy a weekend in New Orleans, regardless whether the event is Taylor Swift priced or not. What else is in the show notes? Our schedule for the upcoming episodes.
Oh, yes.
All the other movies we're going to be talking about, how you can break down the chapters for Blackwood Farm so that you can read along with us and finish up that book club. And then probably next week, I'll post a poll for you to choose our next book club, because we'll have time for one more book club and a handful of movies. So my thinking on the movie night says this, and you tell me what you think about this, Ashley. My thinking is that we just do all of the movies in the list that currently got voted on, anything that got more than a vote or two, like not just the top ones like we have scheduled currently, but we'll just do all the rest of that list too. Because there's a bunch of good ones on there that have popped up again and again. So
sounds good to me.
We need to pick our next book club though. So if you're not a patron yet, go to articulatecoven.com/join. $2 or more a month gets you access to everything we do early and ad free. $5 or more a month gets you access to vote on our upcoming topics and choices. And then by the time we get through that next book club, we ought to be pretty close to
Talamasca.
Yeah, Talamasca's launch in October. And then I will remind you on July 27th, that's going to be our next live stream episode after we wrap up this book club round that we're doing. So put that on your calendar, and I'll have a link in the show notes that you can add to your calendar in the next episode. So watch for that. What else? Anything from you before we wrap up, Ashley? I think we're about done.
I got nothing, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching this silly ass movie with us.
I genuinely said, for a movie this silly, we cannot go over the length of the movie time to talk about it. We have to get in under 90 minutes.
I was like, this is going to be about an hour. Yeah.
I will say, I do think there is something to go, especially if you are a younger watcher of ours and you didn't live through this time period. There is something to go watch, and maybe it's not this one. Maybe it's, whatever, another one that you've heard of. But I guarantee you've heard of some movie, and when it was explained to you, you were like, well, that's a stupid idea, and I can't believe they ever made movies like that. Go and watch one. And just get a sense of like, yeah, they're real, and there were a bunch of them, and it was a weird time in Hollywood. Yeah, man, it's like weird. But like, I do think
part of it is because everybody was on blow.
I mean, yeah, that is part of it.
You
that is absolutely part of it.
You got a lot of weird ideas when you do a little too much cocaine. You're like, we should open a restaurant. Like, fuck.
Every restaurateur that's in our audience just went, hey.
They know.
It's one of the great rules. Right after, don't go to a second location. Don't open a restaurant.
If you came up with the idea while you're coked up with your friend.
Don't buy a boat.
Don't buy a boat.
Don't go into a land war in Asia.
When you were coked up with your friend.
See, once we got the boat, we can go get the coke, man. It's a better way to get the coke here.
We could be the drug runners. We could run our own drugs.
It's a pretty good job, I think, man. Benefits package is nice.
Lord.
All right. Anyway, y'all, we will be back next week with Blackwood Farm Part 2. I'm excited to get back to Aunt Queen and her continuing stories of the family. We're going to learn all about Rebecca in the top of this one. Man, Rebecca had a life. She got a story to tell. This
lady.
Ghost fucking y'all. Y'all just thought we were horny this week. Y'all wait.
Ghost fucking and virgins. My God.
Ghost fucking and virgins. If it didn't have the F word in it, that'd be the better title.
Right.
I think that would fuck up my SEO. All right, y'all.
We ruin a lot of things with profanity, Joel.
Until the next time we talk to you, we have been your hosts. I am Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven.
Thank you for sharing this time with the Articulate Coven. Support the show as either a free or paid member at articulatecoven.com/join. You can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Find more from the Coven with our sister show, Flan Again, covering the works of Mike Flanagan.